beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight is, and woo! I'll tell you. So anyway, I love you so much, and I hope you're able to get out in nature. And I haven't been out here long, but that is okay. And I'm reaching out to you now while I got some energy left in me. So anyway, thank you, all of you who have been here loving and supporting Starlight all these years, especially some of you out there have been here. And all of you that are new to my YouTube channel, welcome, and thank you for all of you who watch my videos, subscribe, give me thumbs up, or leave a message down below, or even share my videos. Thank you! And anyone that would like to send any love donations, Starlight would love to receive that, and you can on my Cash App, and that is available here. Ping! There it is. And so today it's about embracing who you are. You know, who really knows you? That's the question. That's the big, this is the big thing out in reality, is that really a lot of people really don't know who you are inside and out. You might have some people, you know, I used to have like three people that really, you know, each three of these people, one is no longer here anymore, but when that person was here, that person knew a lot about Starlight. But did that person know everything? No. And now we down to two. So now, out of the two, that's funny if I push this finger. Starlight's not gonna stick her middle finger up at you guys. So now it leaves me, hey, peace. So then it leads me down to two. Now I'm gonna put this one down because it only leads me to really, besides myself, the universe, and the archangels, there's only really this one person knows me the most out of any human being I've ever been in contact with. This person knows me the most out of anybody I've ever met in my life. So that's knowing me at different, you know, like different parts of me. And that's a big, huge problem in the world, is that, you know, we know who we are. Sometimes we might not even know who we are. You know, do you know who you are? You know, we could be fooled by what our family thinks who we are, you know. Who, you know, can you be yourself around your mom and dad? What was that? No, you can't. You know, you got to put a mask on. I know. I know what that's like. It sucks, doesn't it? That they, you know, they couldn't really accept you. They don't really know who you really are. How about your friends? Can you be your authentic self around your friends? Anyway, what? No. You know, you got to be like, it's like an acting bit. You know, when you're with them, you act a certain way, and then when you're home, that's who you really are. When nobody's around, it's when you are by yourself, you know. So they don't know of all these other things, you know. They only know what you let them see, or what you let them know, you know. And you might, there's times what we do with people is say certain things and see how people either resonate or don't resonate at all with what you just got done saying. And so that's why when I had those three, it's kind of funny, the three people, two are family and one be, you know, like a friend. So that was, that's why it was just three. And even though I have other family members, and used to have some people I thought were friends in the past, it is amazing how really nobody really knew who I really was all the way around. They only knew bits and pieces. And that's why a lot of times people might not really love themselves, because people only know bits and pieces of who we really are, our quirkiness, our weirdness, you know, our silly stuff that we do, or to know us even when we get upset, you know. So that's something, people, your family might know you when you get upset and know even how to push your buttons. Watch out. Watch out for those ones. There are people out there, they know exactly, like if I don't have a button shirt right now, but they know your family or even your closest friends would be the ones that would know, hey, I've been around you long enough. I know how to push buttons on you. And Starlight does not like that. We all have certain buttons, and like, that red button, so you gotta really be careful. Those ones might know, certain things that might trigger you in a negative way, and I used to have somebody in my life that they knew my weaknesses. They knew areas where, it would lower my frequency and vibration right down to nothing, and so you gotta really watch out yourself around those kind of people. But a lot of times people don't really love themselves because nobody really knows who you are. You might not even know who you are. So no matter what other people think, no matter what your mom thinks, no matter what your dad thinks, or your brothers or sisters, friends, or whoever, you have to embrace who you are. You know who you are. You know your strengths, and you know your weaknesses. You know what gets you excited. You know what gets you upset. So no matter all the different things about you, you got to embrace yourself. You got to accept yourself for who you are. And like, I know we all have like different family members that they might like certain parts of us, but then other parts of us they don't like. For instance, okay, I don't know what kind of family you came from, but I believe in God. I believe that there's a creator. I believe that Jesus went through hell for us, but I could have family members that don't believe in God at all, so, and that's okay. That's their belief system. But that's the thing. There's people that we have in our life, you might not resonate with each other in certain areas, like, hey, I believe in God, you don't. I want to eat healthy, you don't. So it's wherever they are, that's okay. But you have to embrace who you are. And we don't have to line up with everybody else. We don't have to, and that's the whole thing, is that you got to own, who you are. You got to love who you are. No matter what other people, they want to eat that way, let them eat that way. They're going to know it later on in life, is that, I'll tell you, because I've witnessed lots of people, like in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, and 80s, and those, I'll tell you what, things start happening. I do know a guy right now. I don't know what his health is like right now. I have not talked to that man since COVID time. So that particular person, he has to go, because it was the food that he was eating. He was eating really bad food, and they had to check his intestines out. So, whoops, something was not quite right with his intestines, because of the food that he was eating. He ate everything and anything, and even like my brother that is no longer here, he ate a lot of fattening food, a lot of greasy food, lots of grease, lots of fattening food, and where is he now? And besides smoking cigarettes, those are things that are really not good for you. And, those, he gave up smoking cigarettes, but he gave up too soon. It was already too late. And so we don't need to please other people by, going along with what they do. And this happens a lot of times when it comes to holidays, when it comes to eating or getting invited at their house. They cooked all this food, and they want you to try everything. They cooked it all, and I know what it's like. I know what it's like is when you cook something, you want everybody to eat it. But what if they don't like apple pie, or they don't want to eat apple pie because of all the sugar in there? So there's people that will try to force their stuff on you. Here, no, here, no. I do know people like this. Here, you gotta try it. It's good for you. It's not bad for you. You know what? No, I already said no, but there's people out there. It's all about, hey, did you like my food? I cooked this, I cooked this for you. You used to like this. How come you don't eat this anymore? This used to be your favorite. Well, it's not my favorite dish anymore. So stop trying to people please people. You don't want to eat it? Don't eat it. Don't let people pull you down in their bad habits. What they are doing, that's where they are. You can inspire them to eat healthy, but we can't force anybody to do nothing, right? But there are people that will really try to force you into things that you are not ready for. And just like going to church, I've had people, try to put a guilt trip on me because I don't go to church. That's my free will. That's my right. I have a right whether I want to go to church or whether I don't want to go. Does that make me a bad person because I don't want to walk into a building? No, absolutely not. So you gotta, love yourself and understand nobody knows you like you know yourself. And even with God knows you the most out of anybody. There's people that might know you very well, but God, they have to always, there's one person that really knows me really well, but, there's times that person doesn't know me at all because, we've been programmed and conditioned and we've gone through stuff where, people might think they know you, but then they don't trust you because they don't understand you or see you the way God sees you, because sometimes we might do things that makes us look bad, but our heart is in the right place. And a lot of times people don't see that part. They see what you're doing on the outside. They don't really know what's going on the inside like God does. And that's why you have to embrace yourself. Love who you are. Love what is it about you that you love about yourself? Put that on a piece of paper. What is it that you love about yourself? Are you talented? Can you sing? Do you like to dance? Starlight, I'll tell you what, there's a song that's following me around. This is how this matrix goes. I'll tell you what, this reality, this matrix is really tripping my ass out because there's a song and it's been following me everywhere. It's a fun song, but certain songs could pull me in the wrong way, in the wrong direction. It can pull me in areas that so you got to really be careful about that. There might be, you might be great at dancing. What kind of music do you like? Do you like to read? Do you like to learn? What is it? Why are you so different than me? What makes you stand out? Is there something that makes you stand out? Do you have a great sense of humor? Do you love to cook? Do you love to sew? What are you great at? You need to embrace yourself. Now, if you really, like writing things down, like, I think I am a great, I thought I could have been I'm a comedian. It would have been twisted, big time twisted, as far as a comedian goes. But I always wanted to make people laugh, even if they were laughing at me. It would have been, believe me, I got some stuff, but that's not really what God has got me here for, is to be a comedian. So wasn't that funny? No, just kidding. So maybe you're great with animals, like Starlight. What do you love about yourself? And if you are trying to make a list, even in your mind, you don't have to write it down on a paper, but it is good to do that, is to write all the things that you love about yourself, all the positive things. What do you love about yourself? How about your mind? What kind of mind do you have? Are you creative? Are you, Starlight, I'll tell you what, I am I have a wild imagination. You want to go take a trip with Starlight? And we're not tripping. No, we're not tripping. I am on the trip every day without taking any drugs. But do you got a wild imagination, where you could take people places and get them to see your world, So those are things that you want to embrace, things that you love about yourself. And maybe you're a fitness, person, that you love taking care of your body, So when you meet people, they don't know all these things. They only know what you show them. They only know what you tell them, Even if you tell them stuff they really don't know, are you being honest or real about that, So you got to really love yourself, because nobody's going to really know everything about you unless you let them see those, unless you get vulnerable and you open up yourself to those people. But a lot of times we don't want to, because we might throw feelers out there. Hey, I'm going to just say this or do this and see how they respond. And I'll tell you what, in the past, when I was around my family a lot, I was the one that it was really quiet and nobody would say anything. Starlight's the one that's got to entertain. Starlight's the one that got to get everybody kind of laughing and, getting them out of that. It's a horrible feeling. Starlight does not, I don't do well. I could be around a whole bunch of strangers and, you could hear a needle drop, that's how quiet it is. Starlight doesn't do well in those circumstances. So Starlight is going to relax everybody, get everybody kind of, not in that kind of moment, I do this everywhere I go, even standing in a line at a food bank. Everybody's like, and I gotta like start talking, and so Starlight cannot sit there. My brother used to be that way at times if he was in a good spirit, to get people, relaxed and comfortable. And that's what you need to be, is comfortable with yourself. And if you couldn't really think of too many things on that list or even in your mind, that means you definitely got to get your ass out there and try new things. And I got so many talents. I'm like, wow, God, you gave me all these talents. I know how to do a lot for a female. I know how to, I'm a Miss Fix-It. I have a mind for puzzles, and I'm a freaking, give me a puzzle. Anybody got a freaking puzzle? Starlight would love to work on some kind of mental puzzle. I used to love the Rubik's Cube. Not that I ever did it, except, I could do that when I take it apart and put it back together. But I love stuff like that, different kind of mind puzzles, games or whatever, or even a puzzle, jigsaw puzzles and stuff like that. Starlight loves stuff like that. So you got to embrace yourself. Don't worry about anybody else, about what they think, about you. That's why nobody really knows who you are. That's why a lot of people, they don't feel good about themselves, because they only know like maybe a quarter of your life. That's all they know. Your parents only know this. They only know the old version of yourself. They don't know who you are today. Unless your family really accepts you and they're cool with you, and you can be yourself. All my family, I gotta act like a different character. I gotta put a different what do they call that? Like in a video game, I gotta like have a different mask for each family member. Here, this is who I am with you. I gotta act this way with you. It's my son. Okay, this is who I'm gonna act. This is what I gotta, And I'm around my mom. Okay, with my mom, I could say anything. It's crazy. My mom's like 80-something years old, and I could tell her all kinds of crazy shit, and she'll listen to it all. Now my dad, that ain't, I go only so far. We don't really talk about, like, what is it? My dad always said, 2 things you never talk about is politics and religion. Well, I really don't talk to my dad about too much of that stuff. I do talk about God a little bit here and there. I don't want to overwhelm people with something that they don't feel comfortable with, And let me see. And my daughter, I could talk to her, about hair and makeup, or stuff like that. I'm not going to, there's a lot of family members that I'm not going to talk about hiking trips. They don't really care about hiking trips. So, and that's why it's beautiful, when you could sit with yourself and say, I love all of those parts about me. I can sew, I can dance, I can sing, I can be funny, I can be a Miss Fix-It. I'm great with animals. I'm great with any age of people. I'm great with babies. I'm great with toddlers. I'm great with little kids. I'm great with teenagers. I'm great with a whole bunch of kind of different age groups, and elderly people, handicapped people, homeless people. I got a lot in it. There's a lot in here. Some of you that have been watching me a lot, you've been getting to learn Starlight. So you're getting to learn a lot of different things about Starlight, and that is why you need to embrace who you are, because not everybody really gets they don't get the full view of who you are inside and out. You only might show them certain things, but there's things that you hide and you cover up because you know that they're not going to accept it. You know that they're not going to, embrace that with you, because that is how they are. So no matter what you think about yourself, you got to understand they don't know you like you know yourself. That's why you need to embrace yourself and love yourself and accept yourself and your flaws. It's okay. Accept that you're not perfect. That's okay. Nobody is. I tried so hard. I gave up on that. So I love you so much. Love who you are. Forget about what anybody thinks, because they don't know all of you. They only know what you were sharing with them, showing them. They don't know the whole package. Like I said, besides God, the archangels, I have one person that knows a whole lot, maybe a little too much. I really opened up my whole world to that person, so they know the most out of when it comes to human beings. So I love you so much. You need to love yourself the same. Love yourself no matter, they don't know you like you know yourself. God knows you. God knows what you feel, but they don't. So I love you so much. This is Starlight. Namaste. Thank you for watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, give me a thumbs up, and you can leave me a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. Plus, you could share my videos with your family or friends, and don't forget the notification bell, and check out my playlist. And you can also find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman Starlight. Thank you for watching. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace.